The story opens in Moscow, Russia, inside a heavily guarded FSB building, where nothing suspicious ever gets past security. Or so they think. An elderly janitor quietly pushes her cleaning carts. She lockpicks doors, bypasses digital security systems, and slips deeper into the facility like a ghost. She reaches a room packed with high-security deposit boxes, opens one flawlessly, and pulls out a classified file labeled The Internship. Whatever this file contains, it's clearly worth risking everything. But the alarm is triggered. FSB soldiers flood the corridors and open fire. Instead of panicking, the girl reveals her true nature. She moves fast, shoots clean, and fights with terrifying skill, eliminating every soldier who stands in her way. Bullets fly, bodies drop, and chaos consumes the building. Taken from the stolen FSB file, she calls them back into the shadows. Her own codename is Catalyst. The first message reaches the analyst in New York, a former intelligence prodigy now living a quiet life as a tour guide. Next, Apothecary in New Jersey, buried in anonymity. Then Caliber in Detroit, Michigan. And finally, Rubicon in London, England. One by one, they receive the same coordinates. A single meeting point. The story then shifts to Paris. A young woman is working alone inside a building when armed men suddenly storm in. Without hesitation, she reacts. Throwing daggers with deadly precision, she takes them down one by one. Her codename is Dagger. Just as she back in Washington, D.C., Agent Dalton visits her ex-partner Nelson, a former CIA agent fired years ago after brutally assaulting the agency's director of operations, Dick Jones. Now, Nelson runs a small burger food truck. Dalton tells him about the mission and asks for his help tracking Catalyst and her team. He agrees. Meanwhile, in Little Odessa, Brooklyn, Korchenkov arrives at a church and meets a father, asking for weapons, men, and resources. They agree to meet again at a nearby restaurant. At the restaurant, father arrives with a bodyguard and suggests delaying the delivery until the next day. Korchenkov refuses. When the bodyguard intervenes, Korchenkov takes him down effortlessly, making it clear who's in control. The interns have been located, and now the hunt is officially on. Two intelligence superpowers. Back in New York, the intern team finally arrives at their jungle hideout, a secluded safe house buried deep in the trees. Inside, they begin sharing their stories, their past missions, and the skills they were trained with. Each of them is dangerous in their own way, but one thing is clear, none of them were meant to survive this long alone. Meanwhile in Brooklyn, Nelson walks into the same restaurant Korchenkov visited earlier. He asks about Korchenkov, but the staff refuses to say a word. The same bodyguard who was beaten by Korchenkov tries to force Nelson out, only to get beaten again, this time even worse. As Nelson steps outside, we realize Korchenkov never left. He's been watching the entire time. Nelson gets into a taxi, but another man slides in beside him, quietly locking the door and pulling out a pistol. He warns Nelson to walk away from the case. But within seconds, Nelson disarms him, brutally beats him, forces the driver to stop, throws the armed man out, and kicks the driver out as well. Nelson takes watching everything. He calls the CIA director and reports that Dalton brought Nelson into the operation. The director tells him not to interfere as long as the mission succeeds. Jones hangs up furious. His hatred for Nelson hasn't faded at all. Back at the hideout, Catalyst moves silently through the jungle, marking trees and placing hidden cameras around the perimeter. She returns inside, and the team begins analyzing the numbers written on the paper she stole from the FSB. They trace it to an account at United First Bank in New York City. Their next move becomes clear. Suddenly, alarms start ringing. The cameras show Russian forces surrounding the area. A firefight erupts in the jungle. The interns hold their ground with precision, and from a distance, Nelson joins in with a sniper rifle, covering them. The team fights their way to the van and escapes just in time. Korchenkov kills the man himself, standing alone among the dead. Soon after, the interns receive a message requesting a meeting. They meet Nelson, who reveals he was sent by Agent Dalton, Catalyst's mother. The group agrees to meet Dalton on a rooftop. But Russians was waiting. A sniper fires. Chaos explodes. Gunfire erupts from every direction as Dick Jones arrives with multiple CIA agents, turning the rooftop into a war zone. Catalyst spots the sniper and fires back. The sniper falls. It's Korchenkov. The interns manage to escape. Dick Jones tries to chase them, but crashes his car, ending the pursuit. Dalton reports the incident, while Nelson approaches the wounded Korchenkov. As Korchenkov reaches for his gun, Nelson ends him without hesitation. Back on the streets, paranoia takes over the interns. Accusations fly. Trust collapses. One of them tries to run, and is shot dead by the others. Because now the real question isn't who's hunting them anymore. It's who among them was never loyal to begin with. The next day, the interns arrive at the location linked to the bank account. In its place stands a small coffee shop. Confused, they question. Inside, they uncover a series of hidden doors, leading them to an elevator. The elevator descends deep underground, opening into a massive hidden chamber. What they find is chilling, rows of beds filled with children. The truth hits them hard. The internship program has been restarted. Suddenly, the doors lock. A thick, smoky substance pours in through the vents. One by one, the interns collapse unconscious. The smoke clears. The doors unlock. Dick Jones walks in, convinced the interns are still asleep. But he's wrong. Catalyst wakes up first, weapon already raised. The others reveals the truth. He has been secretly rebuilding the internship program without CIA approval, operating completely off the books. His agents storm in, and a massive firefight erupts. Nelson and Dalton arrive, joining the battle. The underground facility turns into a war zone. Even a SWAT team enters the fight, but Catalyst wipes them out with brutal efficiency. When the gunfire finally stops, the team regroups, deeper into the facility. The two confront each other, choosing to end their long-standing grudge with hand-to-hand combat. Nelson completely overpowers Jones, beating him mercilessly. Desperate, Jones reaches for his gun. Nelson is faster. One shot. Dick Jones is dead. In the aftermath, the CIA director promotes Dalton to director of operations and reinstates Nelson into the agency. The internship program will now officially fall under Dalton's control. But then comes the final twist. Back in Russia, a senior FSB official congratulates a woman on her promotion, praising her for reaching a powerful position after years of careful planning. As the camera turns, we see the woman's face. It's Dalton. Now it makes sense. The codename Phantom was never a myth. Dalton exits the building and gets into a car. Behind the wheel sits Catalyst herself. The truth is finally revealed. This was a Russian long-term operation, a plan that took 19 years to penetrate the CIA from the inside. They've succeeded. The car drives away. Fade to black. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Your support helps the channel grow. See you in the next one.